And today I'm going to show you some balancing activities, and then I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY balance scale. So first we're going to start with this activity, and this activity is just with stuff that you have around your house. So I have some cups, some Dixie cups, some styrofoam plates, a muffin tin, and I found a cookie sheet. So this one is just going to help us with practicing our balancing skills. So you need to start with a really good base. And I'm going to start with my cups. Now I'm going to put a row of 3 cups down, and then a row of 2 cups down, and then another row of 3 cups. And I think this is going to be a sturdy base for my balancing trays. I'm going to start with my biggest tray, my baking sheet. I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to get some more cups, and this time I'm only going to do 2. So I have 2 cups side by side, and then I'm going to use my muffin tray for this one. And we'll see if that works. And it looks a little unstable to me, so I think maybe I'll add another row of cups. And this is all trial and error and practice. Well, that feels way better. Looks pretty balanced. And then for the muffin one, I'm going to put my cups this way so that they sit in each of the little muffin cup spots. And now I'm going to use my plate. Put that on. And then for my small plate, I'm just going to use 1 cup and see if that works. And then to top it off, I'm going to see if I can balance some tiny rocks on it. So that's our first activity. So these are just some ways that you can practice your balancing skills with stuff that you find at home. So I have my cups again, and I have my rows laid out. And then I'm just going to try balancing the cups on top of each other. Oops. I have no balance skills. I need to practice them. And then you can see how high you can go. You can make it a fun challenge with your family members. So that's with your cups. And once you master that skill, you can go to something a little bit more difficult. I found some shells, and I'm going to try to balance those. Keep trying. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you have to move them around to see which ones work. And if you want to use something easier, these are just little wood discs or wood cookies or chips or whatever you want to call them. And you can try balancing those. This is a good way to start because it's pretty easy. And that works for younger toddlers. Then you can try, the next one is if you collect some rough rocks from the backyard, or if you go for a walk or a hike and collect some rocks, you can try balancing those and see how high you can go. This one's a little bit trickier because no edge is straight. And when I practiced this earlier, I only got 3 rocks tall. Sometimes you have to move them around to make them work. And then, this one's pretty tricky. These are soft, flat, shiny rocks. And you think they would be easier to do, but they're not because they're so shiny, the rocks slide off. So I'm going to start with a big one on the base and see how high I can balance those. And this one is very tricky. So these are just things that I found when I went on a hike to use to practice my balancing skills. So now I'm going to show you how to make a homemade balance scale. And this is really easy. It's just with some recycled material, things that you find at home. So you need 2 water bottles. You need a wire coat hanger or a coat hanger, it doesn't matter. And you need some string, some garden string or something to tie it all together. You will need a grown-up to help you with this one because there is some cutting involved and you have to poke a hole. So the first thing you have to do is cut your water bottles, and I'm using a knife to do that. This is why you need a grown-up to help you out. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you're going to need the top end of your water bottle, and it still needs the cap on it. And then what you're going to do is poke a hole in your cap. You can do that with a pair of scissors or something that has a pointy end. You need a big enough hole that you can feed the string through it. Poke it through your cap, through the neck of your bottle, put your lid on, and then pull your string so it's almost through, leaving a little bit at the end so you can tie a knot so it doesn't come all the way through your bottle. So you do that twice so that you have 2 of these, and then you're going to tie them equally, so same length of string and then the same width from the end of your coat hanger into the middle, and then it's pretty easy. You have your homemade balance beam, and then you can fill it with different things. So I have some tiny rocks here. It's easier if you have this hanging on something. So I'm going to try hanging it on this. And then it shows you. And then you can practice your balancing skills that way. So I hope you enjoyed these balancing activities. I'll see you next time.